YouTube friends. So today I am going to try to put my head down and get a lot done. We have a meeting at 10:30 and it's at the Olive Hill room across town. So I don't have a lot of time in here to try to be super productive. So I'm going to try to be focused, which is super hard for me. So I remembered to bring my razor to do my board. I also remembered to bring my hot glue sticks. So I was happy about that. So I'm going to turn you around so that then I can tell you all about my to-do list and what I'm going to do, and then I'll walk you through all of that. So here's my to-do list, and I put it on my big board because my first to-do on my board is to scrape off, clean this easel, and I'm actually going to move the easel. And I made my job chart last night, and when I get to that, I'll show you my original job chart and how that I make it work. It's simple for me, and then I will show you what I made, my new jobs. I'm gonna redo my book labels for my library, and that's because I'm gonna separate some of my levels. I found a different chart, and I think I like it better. It's not as many levels in each book, and because they get kind of crowded, and so it's harder for my kids to pick out their books that they want to read. And then my monthly books are on my white shelf at the end of my room, and I just pull those out each month in theme, and I just need to make labels for that and kind of make that shelf look neat with all my lovies and reading buddies. And then I just need to clean up and put up a bunch of stuff. And then I want to move my desk around now that all the things are gone, and move them like I actually want them to be in here. And then once I get all of that done, I can put my book bins that I put the labels on up yesterday. So I'm hoping to get all of that finished before my meeting, and that's a pretty ambitious goal, so I better go. So I'm super bummed because the first thing on my to-do list was a bust, and that's because I just got this easel at the beginning of last year, maybe at the end of the year before, and I really like it because, let me show you, it has a place for all my big books on the back of it. And our custodian, our sweet custodian, because it was not made very sturdily, I don't know if that's a word, but it all fell last year because the weight of all these books that had just little dowel rods that were stuck in here, and they weren't very well made. And when it fell, she helped me get them all up, and then her husband, she took it home with her, and her husband attached these quarter rounds on there. And so now it is super sturdy, and it holds all my books, and we have big books that go with our Treasures series. So it's really nice to have them there, because that's what I use the easel for a lot, is to have the big book here. The thing is, I also used it a lot for Words Their Way, and so I would tape up my words, and I thought that all that was just gunk that was on my board, but apparently once I started trying to scrape it off, it really is just where the tape pulled off the whiteboard. So it's just gonna have to look like that, and I'll just have to be happy with it. But most of the time I have a big book over top of it, or my oral vocabulary cards, so maybe I'll put some cute border around the outside. I don't know, but I'm just gonna have to be okay with that, because I really don't think that even if I tried to paint over it with whiteboard paint, I just think it would just go in the divots. And right now it works well as a whiteboard or as the other. So maybe eventually I could just take this whiteboard off and measure and put another one on there in the same place, but that's too much to do before open house, so not gonna happen this year. So this is what happens when you're chalking and laminating at the same time. I overlapped these, but it is not a problem at all. Like, I'm not even stressed about it, because I have my handy dandy X-Acto knife, and all I'm gonna do is just cut along here, and then I'll cut along the back and separate it, And then I'll just take some of my packing tape and put it over top of it. And it's not that big of a deal because it's going to go on my chart, inside my chart, so it's not even going to be used by the kids. Like, it's not going to be moved. And I wanted to show you how that I do my chart, and it's probably different than how a lot of people, some people like put the students' names and then they change out the jobs, but I want my jobs in the same order all the time. This is actually becomes our line order. So the order of their jobs up here is the order that they're lined up. So it makes it really easy for me just to take a picture of this, and then whenever that we go line up, I look at my job chart and I just change out their names each 9 weeks, or however often that we decide to change out our jobs. So these are the old jobs that I had. Some of them I kept because I liked them. Some of them kind of became like, we used to have to take our trash cans out into the hallway because the custodian had to come into our room during my math time to empty the trash, just because that was their schedule. Well, now they don't have to do that. So that's kind of a by the wayside job. And we don't really have a calendar time anymore like we used to. So if there's a calendar helper, I just, there's just a lot of things that have changed that I want to do differently. I don't really have a need for a snack helper anymore because my breakout is right before snack. So some of these jobs, they just didn't see a lot of action when they were doing their jobs. And so I tried to pick some things that I thought would be more helpful and more useful, and they would all feel like they're contributing to the classroom. But like I said, I put these up there, and that is my line order. And then each 9 weeks, I put the kids in order by their dojo points, or I just randomly pick them and they choose their jobs by that order. I used to do a job application, and I may bring that back in. I only do that like at the beginning of the year, and a lot of them, they couldn't remember all the jobs to see it. It worked great in 5th grade, worked great in 2nd grade. 1st grade, I have to make a lot of leeway because they can't remember the jobs after I explain what they are. But I'm excited about getting this new one up. It shouldn't take me very long to cut all that apart and put it up there. So I'm really liking my new job chart. If you'll notice, I actually have 24 jobs on here. I actually only have 22 students, so some of the jobs I rotate out during the year if I need more than one. Like you notice, I have a Geek Squad up here, and I have an extra Geek Squad because I might have to have an extra one. And my walkie attendant, I can definitely switch that one out and make another job do that. Like I used to do, the same person that turned off my projector was also the person that got my walkie. But this year I decided not to have just a projector person. I made that job a Geek Squad so that it encompassed everything. And so it just depends. I could like add in the walkie person is one of the Geek Squad people. So lots of things that I've got to explain and think through, but I'll just tell you about my jobs right quick. And like I said, I'm going to link this and all my other labels that I'm making in my classroom on my Teacher Pay Teacher store. So if you like them, check them out. And like I said, it will be in purple, but if you have a preference of another color or another pattern or scheme, just let me know in the comments below and I can make that happen because I have lots of different backgrounds. I just choose purple because it's my thing. So I have the line leader, that's pretty self-explanatory. And I have 2 door holders because most of the places that we go, there is more than one door. Like we have the door out of our classroom and the door into the cafeteria or into the gym. Or wherever, and then whenever that we go outside, there's the main door and then there's the outside door. So most of the places there's 2, so instead of that person having to jump and do both jobs, I just have 2 door holders. Girl monitor, boy monitor, that's just whenever that we go to the bathroom. That way there's somebody who can tell how many's in there and kind of give me a report back. Phone operator, and that person actually, we talk about phone etiquette. They answer the phone. Anytime the phone rings, they go get it and they say, hello, this is Miss Stevens' room, how can I help you? And they do a great job of that. And not only is that an easy thing for me, take off my back, I don't have time to run around the room and grab the phone. But it also teaches them to speak to other people. The greeter, I'm adding that this year. I had it last year, but I didn't really implement it that much. But that will be the person in the morning who will like make sure that everybody does what they're supposed to do. Invite them into the room. Hello, how are you? Hope you're having a good morning. So hopefully that will be a cheery morning person that will sign up for that job. The attendance taker, that's super important because they have to take the attendance all the way around the corner past the boys' bathroom and put it in a box. And so that has to be a very trustworthy person. That has to happen every morning. The backpack checker, I added that this year because last year our backpacks were out in the hallway at the beginning of the year. This year and at the end of last year, our backpacks are in the wet area where I had those hooks, and it gets very jammed up, congested in there. It's a hot mess. So this person will do two things. They will check and make sure that people are putting their backpacks on the hooks and that there's nothing like thrown all over the floor in there. But number two, they're going to make sure that people aren't like playing and messing out there, and kind of be a monitor in that section in the morning and in the afternoon time. I only put one recycler up here, and the recycling, they have to take recycling, and I've always had two because it really is a two-person job, but I didn't want to use up a job for that because I can just choose another child to go with that recycler, or they can choose a friend to go help them. I always bring my lunch to school, and last year I would just like pick the same kid all the time to go get my lunch because he knew where the refrigerator was. But this year I decided to add that as an actual job, like the lunch card, because we have lunch cards and somebody has to bring them back to the classroom and take the little bucket to pick them up. So that same person, I'll just send them to get my lunch every day. The floor checker, just to make sure that there's no trash in the floor in the afternoon after we clean up. The station manager, I have a lot of stations in my room, a lot of what other people call centers, or you know, the things that they do. So this person will just be in charge of making sure that everything's picked up and cleaned up and put up where it's supposed to be. The office assistant, that's like a runner. So if I need something taken during the day, or if I need somebody to go take something to another teacher too, that will be the person. We always have 2 table washers in the cafeteria because that's a big job. We have lots of tables, and that way they can help each other. I have a napkin passer. This person's in charge of passing out the napkins for the whole class. And then I also have a tray stacker, and I put all those jobs together because those are all cafeteria jobs. And so that person has to stand at the front and just make sure that everybody puts their tray in the same direction, and that's all taken care of. I added in a librarian this year because last year I had a couple kids who really liked organizing my library and making sure all the books were back there. So I thought if I added that as a job, that could actually be something that I implement throughout the year, and it just teaches them to take care of my books because a lot of times they will hold each other accountable even better than I can. And like I said, my Geek Squad, that'll be somebody who will help plug up the iPads in the afternoon, and they will help if somebody needs login help. That's why I have 2 of those, and I may add that back in and just have the walkie person later on, one of them get the walkie every day. But that is a pretty important job. They'll also be the person that uses the remote to turn off my projector until we get Apple TVs, and then I don't know how that works, if it's like a remote or what that will be, but they'll turn that off every day. And then like I said, the walkie attendant will just grab that whenever we go outside, or for a fire drill I grab it, but if we go outside or we have a special assembly when we leave the room, they get that. And then the electrician just turns out the lights whenever that we leave. So I haven't really had a chance to vlog very much today at all because we had a meeting, then we went to lunch, and then we went to Walmart for a little bit because you can never turn out up a trip from Walmart. And then we met and planned out like what we're going to copy and kind of a skeleton of the things that we're going to teach like in the first month of school. And then Friday we're going to sit down and like figure out what we're going to teach where. So that took a little bit of time because we're getting used to our new team. But I did get a big thing accomplished. I'm really excited about it. So my books were getting kind of jammed up. I had too many in each bucket. There were just too many levels and too many AR numbers in each box. So I found a chart that kind of separated them by Fontes and Pinnell levels and AR levels, and I liked this one better than the one I had used previously. And I know, like, who in the world redoes their whole bookshelf the day before open house when your room looks like this? But it will all come together. It'll be okay. It's just happening. And it needed to happen to settle my brain and get that off my to-do list. But I did get it accomplished. I made those labels, and like I said, that will go in my whole label pack probably at the end of this week, that I've labeled my room, and it'll just be one big pack. I did these just in black and white because that way whatever color labels, if you choose to like color code your labels, you wouldn't have to have a color that matched it. So I stayed away from purple. And I just put, like, you can see the levels. The only thing that I probably might change is, like, that one's okay because it says 1.0, 1.1. And then 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. But then whenever that you get here, it's actually 3 levels, 1.9 to 2.1. I probably might go back and put like 2.0 in there just so the kids don't have any confusion. But that can happen another day. But I did get all of them put in their boxes and labeled. I also got my labels made. This is like my monthly shelf, and you can see it's got my lovies. I might like reorganize those. I call them my reading buddies or my lovies. Excuse me. And they can come in and pick those up whenever that they want to read and when we have read aloud. But I just made August, September, October, November. I haven't put these on yet because I've been like really busy, but I put December in one by itself. This one is January and February, and then I might just put March, April, and May all in one because I don't have as many for that. I do have quite a few, but a lot of them I use for other things as well. So I feel like all of those might be able to go into one section together. Especially for right now because I don't have as many separated out. And then down there's my science one, and I've got to kind of straighten that up. And those will be moved somewhere else. I just have them stored right there till tomorrow till I can get to that. So it's definitely looking a whole lot better. This is still like my junk pile table, stuff that I need to deal with, put up or put labels on and that kind of thing. I do have my desk kind of arranged like I'm going to have them. I did get my book bins put up. I got a lot of stuff like cleaned up. Like this is stuff to either be trashed or given away. All those books are to be given away. Got my easel moved to that side. I got that bookshelf moved. Just a lot of things, little things that just needed to be taken care of. And so I'm feeling a lot better. Like parents could come in and not feel like that I'm not going to be able to teach their kids. So